Hello and welcome back. So this is the confession part. As you can see, my wall in the Boho Room box is bowed. And this is why I haven't been doing much with it, because it makes me sick to even look at it. I am a perfectionist. I have done this technique 100 times. Okay, maybe not that many, but I've done it a lot. And I have never had it bow. I cannot fix this. There's no way to fix it without tearing it apart, and doing that is going to ruin the rest of the box. So I was always planning on going over it with a frame. As you can see, I'm just kind of holding this frame up to it, and it will make it look less bowed, but I am so disappointed in myself for doing something like that. That's why I haven't been working on it. I'm just embarrassed. Okay, you guys deserve better than that, but I think I'll persevere and see where we get with this whole deal, because it's just very disheartening to me that it happened this way. So we'll go on. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so now I have a little project for the Boho Room box that I want to do, and I had bought an old necklace and there were some beads on it, two different types of beads. And those are two wooden ones that I think are going to make a great lamp, and I'm going to try using that for the top of it. Also, this little bead, which I thought was wood because it looks and feels like wood. I found out later it was really resin when my drill bit got stuck in it. I cut that part out so you wouldn't have to watch. So I'm just putting the right size drill bit in my little Performax tool. It's like a Dremel tool, only cheaper. And it works just as good. So I got it at Menards. This is not a commercial for Performax, as I've said before. We just have a lot of their tools, Rob and I, and we are very, very pleased with them. So anyway, I am going to be drilling out this bead. I don't need to drill it deep because it's just a base, and I have not used this tool much, so I'm not very good with it. But I don't know if you can see it, but there are ribbons from the resin coming out of it. So I'm just going to put that down for now, in case I need it later, which I didn't. But so I'm just pulling the resin out, and it leaves me with a white center, but I will paint that later on so it doesn't show. But it is just a really cool carved looking little bead, so I thought it would be a neat base for the Boho box. So now I'm just getting ready to do my project. I'm cutting down a toothpick, and I'm rolling it on my cutting mat as I cut, so I will get a straight edge on my toothpick. So this is going to be the center of my lamp, and I'm just going to put some glue onto the toothpick because it'll slide down into the bead. And so I was trying to get glue out of this tacky glue. It's almost done, and I should have laid it on its side. So I'm getting the toothpick ready now and putting the glue on, and I'm putting quite a bit on there. And I remembered to lay the glue down. That's good. And now I am just putting it in the middle of the bigger bead, just holding it for a little bit so it sits in there straight. The hole on the bead is not that big, so it really wasn't a problem. So now I'm going to take the smaller wooden bead, and I'm just going to put some glue right on the bead, because that'll not only, get on the toothpick as I slide it down, but it will also be on the bottom of the bead to glue the two beads together. I can tell you right now, just putting that bead on there, I'm really liking the way this is going to look. It's going to be just perfect when I'm done. So now I'm taking the cap, and I'm cutting because I realize I have the wrong size drill bit. I need a much smaller drill bit, and so I'm just getting that in there. And I'm not that familiar with this tool, so I had to turn it around so I could turn it on. And just gonna drill into the cap And then I remembered I'd unplugged it because I had it just on the floor down there, and I didn't want to accidentally kick it and turn it on. So now we're ready to drill. So it's right through just like that. And I think if I remember right, yeah, I was just putting it down. I thought my drill bit came loose, but it didn't. So now that the tacky glue is set up a little bit, I'm going to try it on there and just put it over the toothpick. And I realize the hole is just a little bit too big, but what I'm going to do at the top of it is going to be fine. So I found some jute twine, and I'm just going to be wrapping this around. You'll see a thinner cord laying there. I was going to use that, but once I started wrapping, it just didn't look right. It was too small. And I don't remember what craft store I got that at, but I think I only paid $1 for it. So yeah, I'm just gonna wrap this around, and you'll see me pushing it together to make sure I don't have any white showing. And I'm just checking it for that, and I'm just gonna keep wrapping, and I'll do that off camera so you don't have to watch me wrap the whole thing. I'm just going around and around till I get to the top of the cap. If you hear any noise in the background, I've got a fan running. It's warm today, but it's not the hundreds it has been. That was miserable, and it was so humid. It was terrible. So I've got it all wrapped around, and now what I want to do is take the twine and I want to fill in the top of the little cap there. So I'm just getting the end of it ready, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some tacky glue on there, and I'm going to rub it into the twine. That'll make the twine good and stiff, and also will make it stick to itself. This is not a tutorial. This is just me doing this. There are a lot of cuts in it, but also a lot of what I'm doing is repetitive. So now I'm just forming it into a little circle with a hole in the middle that will fit right on top of my bead cap, or my cap, bead cap. Oh my, okay. So I'm just taking the twine and wrapping it around and forming this little circle, putting a little glue on to make it stick. And I guess the one thing I would say when you're doing this is just be careful not to get a lot of excess glue on your fingers, because the tacky glue will dry clear, but if you get some on your fingers, you're going to have lumps and bumps of glue. That's kind of what I'm checking for right there, is make sure that everything's, and I'll keep pulling on it, as you'll see, and that's just to make sure that my little coil stays tight. And you probably couldn't see it very good, but that's the little coil. So now I'm just putting tacky glue all around the top of the cap I'm using, and then I'm going to try to place this so that the hole in the twine is right over the center of the hole I drilled in the cap. So I'm pushing it down, and at first it didn't really want to stick very well, but as the tacky glue got stickier, it's stuck really well. So now I'm just taking my fingers, and you'll see that I'm reaching for a clamp, and I want to see if it's possible once I'm done that I can clamp that together. If that would be a good idea to hold the end when I glue it down. But I won't be, yeah, see, I'm seeing how far I can get over with that clamp, but it's just not working, and I don't end up using it. So now I'm still just making sure as I twist that the hole in the twine is still lined up with the hole on the top of the cap. I'm going around, and you'll see me pull there a little bit. That's just to keep the twine nice and tight. I don't want it loose, and I don't want any gaps. So I'm just holding that down with my thumb while I'm, applying glue and stuff, because I don't want it slipping. And I'm just pulling it tight again, making sure it's where it should be. And I was putting a little bit of glue on at a time, but the bottle of tacky glue, the end of it is getting to be a little too big for the space that I need to glue. So again, just twisting and making sure it's there, and it's looking pretty good. My coil's staying pretty nice and even, and it's staying centered now because the glue is stickier. And I'm putting a little more on because I really want this top to be glued down good. I don't want part of that coil to come loose. And you know, like when you're wrapping the sides and stuff, you don't have to glue every bit of twine, but I decided to do that up here on the top. So I'm getting really close to the edge now, and this is where I decide to get my smaller glue bottle with a very small tip on it. But this is just regular PVA or Elmer's glue, but it fits down into the cap a lot nicer. I could get it just right along that edge. If you hear a cat in the background, it's Corky. He wants out, and it's almost the time of day they get to go outside, so he is very anxious. So now it's just wrapping it basically to the end, and I'm trying to get I'm using a pin in the end of that because I don't want it clogging up, and I can't find the end in that little tiny, I can't see it, and especially with having to hold the cap in my hand too. So I will abandon this in just a minute and not make you watch. Yep, I'm getting very frustrated here because after this video, I stuck the pin up there and it just went right in. And isn't that how it always goes? Anyway, I'm like, yeah, forget it. I need to get this glued down. So now I'm just winding the rest of it, and I'm going to clip it now, and I'll just get my end in there. So right now I'm a little off camera, but I'm just pushing it down to make sure that the joint is good, and I need it to clip a little bit more off. Better to have too much than too little. So I'm just pushing it down now and just looking really good to see if I'm getting it. And I decided I'm gonna try a little bit of the Elmer's glue to glue the ends together. And it's not wanting to hold it because this is although it's not a really thick twine, it's more of a garden variety twine, so it's thicker and it doesn't want to stick really well with the Elmer's glue. So I decide I am gonna try a little squirt of the tacky glue. That should hold it. This glue will dry clear, so it won't be visible in the end. And there you can see that it's done. I still have the white edge around the top of the cap, and I'm going to now show you how I did the faux macrame for my little planter. as opposed to actually doing the macrame, which I do know how to do. I just decided that I was going to go ahead and do the bow stuff. Now, I did this the hard way, because what I did was make a loop. I folded the twine in half and made a loop. And this was the hard way to go about it, honestly. Because now what I'm doing is tying a double knot at the base of the thing, the loop, and as you can see, I'm doing it one-handed, which I'm used to doing because of my job. I have to do a lot of things with one hand while I'm doing something else, and so now I'm just pulling that loop. I'm pulling it tight, but I need to pull that loop down because we don't need near that much. And my hands are going to be in the way on a lot of this, so just so you know. But the idea is very simple. You've probably thought of it on your own. I'm just still trying to get that loop down to a smaller size because otherwise it's just waste. So I'm going to put some masking tape on there. And I've got two pieces, one for the top of the cap and one for the bottom. So I've already got that one taped down, and then I'm just going to take, and I'm getting off a couple pieces of masking tape to hold the bottom of this. So now I'm just going to take the two strands and I'm just going to start twisting them together. And that's what I said. My hands are in the way and I apologize, but it's just twisting. And I'm just checking to make sure the twist is looking good. It's as tight as I would like it. And that it's going to look like a twist when I get done with it. The thing to remember on this is that the more you twist, it's going to kink up your twine or whatever you're working with. So you want it tight enough that it, you get a nice twist on it, but not so tight that it starts trying to curl itself up. And then I'm just going to put some masking tape down on that one, just down at the bottom to hold it once I have it as long as I would like it. And always leave yourself extra twine because, yeah, now I got smart and I'm taping down my wax paper. Yeah, better do the other side too, huh? Yeah. So I'm getting that all taped down now, and then I'm just gonna twist the other one the same way. And it does not matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, as long as you get a nice twist that's not kinking up and that you're satisfied with. And I want these straight. I don't want any curves or bends in them. So I just pull mine just enough. Once I'm pleased with the twist, just pull it enough so that it lays straight on the wax paper. You could do this on silicone. You could do it on your craft mat, but you're going to get glue all over it. As I said, when I made the hanger for the little spider plant that I made, this is how I did the macrame. I'm calling it faux macrame. As opposed to actually doing the macrame. So those of you who don't know how to do macrame, this would be a good way to fake it so that, So now I'm just getting some tacky glue out, and yeah, this bottle's about, I think there's about a quarter of it left, something like that. So I'm putting some on my wax paper, and there it comes. If I remember right, the bottle was wanting to, glue itself shut too. So then I'm just taking a brush and I'm just painting along the top and the sides of this twine, and that will hold the twist in the twine. It doesn't take a lot of glue to do this, but you want to make sure you have it coated, and the glue will dry clear, so that's not a problem. And I'm just going to do that on both pieces. You don't need to, You just need to glue where your twist is that you want. Like I said, make sure you get the top and the sides. Ah, stupid cold. This weather has been terrible. Hundreds, extremely humid, and now it's back down to the 70s. So those are done, and as you can see, it's nice and stiff, and it's holding the twist in it. But I'm just taking the excess glue in my finger and going on the back side. Just putting a little on there, just for a little extra. It wasn't necessary, but I didn't want to waste the glue. So that's how I did that. And I'm taping it down again just so that that glue can dry and it will dry straight. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other one. Just peeling it off there. And I've flipped it over, and I'm just putting the rest of that little bit of glue on there just to hold the back side. You do not have to do this. If you have a good coat of glue on the first time, it's going to hold. I was just being frugal. So I'm supposed to show up today at the 50th anniversary celebration of the company I work for, and I'm very happy for them, but it's my day off. I don't really want to drive 40 miles round trip for an hour, you know. So now that everything is nice and dry, I'm going to be gluing the twist onto the bottom of the cap. You could start with the top if you want, doesn't matter. And I've just put an ample amount of glue on there because I know I'm going to need it. I have trimmed the ends from my twist so they're not on there. And I'm just going to start wrapping it around that outside edge. I will be off camera a little bit here because this one was very fiddly to get on. All I had was that thin little edge of the cap to glue the twine onto, and the twine with the glue on it kind of wanted to go straight and not curve around. So I will spare you having to watch me do that. I am just simply gluing it around the bottom edge of the cap, and I will join it when I'm done. So now I'm just clipping it where I joined it, and I'm putting a little more glue on there to get the join good. And it was continually moving it around and keeping it circular and right around the edge, and not having a little piece want to, you know, pop out too far or go in too far. And it was a very fiddly process, but it turned out really cute when it was done. So I'm still just messing with that, and I'm pretty much getting it to where I want it to be. I said I wasn't going to make you watch me, but I was at the end, and it did turn out really cute. And so now it's time to, I'm still checking because that one piece didn't want to stay, or one part. So now I'm just going to set it down, and I'll be doing the piece around the top. And I did have to add in one more strip of twine on the top because you could see the cap indents a little bit at the top, and you could see a little bit of the white showing. So I just went around the very inside of that rim with another piece of twine. And now I'm going to cut this, and I always cut it at an angle, because if you join at an angle and you cut the part you're going to join to it at an opposite angle, it kind of just slides together. In theory, it works, but yeah. So now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm putting an ample amount of glue all around that top edge, and I'm taking my little faux macrame twist and I'm looking to see where my join is on the bottom, because that'll be at the back of the lamp. You won't see it when I put it in the box. And so now we're just gonna start wrapping that around just like I did on the bottom part to finish that white edge on that cap. And the nice part about this braid, or this twist now, is if you get enough glue on it to start with, you can cut it and it won't fall apart. So once I get it wrapped around there, and I'm just checking to make sure everything is staying lined up where it needs to. It's not going to the inside, it's not going to the outside, it's just right there on the top. Just working it around. And you'll see some white on there, but that'll just be where some glue needs to dry. And I didn't try to get it out of there because using a toothpick or anything like that is gonna, I'm scared gonna pull the twine, so I didn't do that. It dries clear in the end and you never see it. So now I need just a little bit more so I can close off that part. And I'm really happy with the way it's looking. Although looking back now, I think maybe I should have maybe put a row of the twist around the outside edge on the bottom, and I may still do that. But that's the nice part. You can go back and fix what you think is wrong. So, just getting those edges to stick together. And sorry I'm off camera, but I need to make sure, and I had to clip just a little bit of the twine yet. So I'll be showing that to you here in just a second. Just making sure it's holding. Okay, so there it is, all done. Like I said, you can see a little bit of white get up on top. And I really think I'm going to, at some point, go put another twist around the bottom. So now I'm fitting it onto the toothpick, and it fits really well. And I'm showing you that. It hasn't been glued on. And it's at this point that I all of a sudden realize I forgot to paint the toothpick. Okay, yeah. I think I was so excited to get this done because I thought those beads were perfect that I forgot to paint the toothpick. So I'm doing that really quick, and then I'll let it dry and I'll glue the cap on, and I'll show you both the base and the lamp all done, ready to go in the room box. And I think next I'll be starting on the ceiling for the room box. I still can't get over how stupid I was, but I'm gonna go ahead with it and I'm gonna finish it because I think it's gonna be so cute when it's done. And yeah, it's one of those times in a perfectionist life when you're just like not happy, but there's nothing, you realize there's nothing you can do, so you're gonna have to make the best of it and move on. I don't know if there'll be any video up tomorrow. The farmhouse is where it is, and I'm thinking about putting in the 3rd floor balls. So there's a little lamp all done, and I think it turned out really cute, but I really think I'm going to add a twist to the bottom of the shade. So that'll probably be something I'll be doing, and then it fell over. I had something setting there and I set it on it. This is how the little bead turned out as the base. I had some that thing. That's the problem, it wants to tip over. I did glue a plastic ring on the bottom of that to hold it better, the base. And then I put some little actual dried flowers in it. So they turned out really cute, and there they are together. Sorry this thing doesn't want to focus. This camera and I. Ugh. So we're going to go on and see my finished little room box setting vignette. I don't know what you call it, but I finished it and I gave it to a very good friend of mine who I'd made it for, and she was like so ecstatic. So we're gonna go look at that next. There we go. This is the finished piece, and I cannot zoom in super close because the stone camera just doesn't want to do it. I added a few things. There's a little penguin. There's a glass bead. Her daughter loves animals, and trust me, if her daughter saw a penguin and found it, they would have a penguin. My friend says no, but I know her daughter. She's amazing with animals and she loves them. So I had to put a little penguin thing in there. There's a little planter up on the shelf up there to your right side, and it's got a black cat on it, and that kind of was me because I love black cats. So I put a little part of me in there. On the top shelf, on that shelf there by the spider plant, there's even a guardian angel to watch over her plants, which is just another bead. So here it is with the front on. The front is magnetic, so she can take it off. Maybe she'll want to add something to it, or, you know. So I'm pleased